Good day to you. It's Marie Westley, and I'm very glad to have you on this journey that we are taking to search for the truth. So I hope that you will be blessed with me. Today we're going to start with the breastplate of judgment, but we're first going to go to Ezekiel 16 and see what the Bible's saying. And because this is an absolute new lecture, I'm going to read about that all scriptures used are from the Hebrew Bible, the Old King James Version, Dake's Annotated Reference Bible, and eSword. Any italics, underlining, brackets, and words made bold have been added, including all the English and Greek names for God, the Lord, Jesus, and Christ, and also the Afrikaans, die Here, God, and Jesus, changed into the original Hebrew. So before we continue with the breastplate of judgment, we must firstly go to Ezekiel 16, verse 1 to 13. Again, the word of Yahveh came unto me, saying, Son of man, cause Jerusalem to know her abominations, and say, Thus says Yahweh Elohim unto Jerusalem, Thy birth and thy nativity is of the land of Canaan. Thy father was an Amorite, and thy mother an Hittite. These were Canaanite people. They had their own gods. And so Israel was born out of those people. This refers to the founders of Jerusalem, not to Abraham and his seed, Yeshua. Jebus was a Canaanite city. Satan and the giants, the seed of the Nephilim, occupied it in the promised land in advance of Avram for the purpose of thwarting Yahweh's purpose with the chosen race. Canaanite cities were founded in blood by the offering of human sacrifices. Yahweh saw Jerusalem as a cast-off, newborn babe and left to die by itself. It says in verse 4, And as for thy nativity, in the day thou wast born, thy navel was not cut, neither was thou washed in water to supple thee. Thou wast not salted at all, nor swaddled at all. None I pitied thee, to do any of these unto thee, to have compassion upon thee. But thou wast cast out in the open field, to the loathing of thy person, in the day that thou wast born. And when I passed by thee, I saw thee polluted in thine own blood. I said unto thee, when thou wast in thy blood, Live. Yea, I said unto thee, when thou wast in thy blood, Live. I have caused thee to multiply as the bud of the field, and thou hast increased and waxen great, and thou art come to excellent ornaments. Thy breasts are fashioned, and thine hair is grown, whereas thou wast naked and bare. Now when I passed by thee and looked upon thee, behold, thy time was the time of love. And I spread my skirt over thee, and covered thy nakedness. Yea, I swear unto thee, and entered into a covenant with thee, says Yahweh Elohim, and thou becamest mine. In other words, she became his betrothed. You know, those days when a child had maybe a little deformity or just a birthmark, that child was taken and put outside in a basin to die. It is terrible. but also to spread my skirt over you. This was a symbolic act, signifying that one was taking another under his own protection. It was a common symbol in the East. For marriage, for instance, if you look at Ruth and Boaz, he put his skirt over her. Corners, it means hem, border, kanaf. A wing-like projection like a tassel or a lock of hair. It was his vesture, his wraparound, lavush, fringes was tzitzit. It was the holiest part of a man's covering. Ezekiel 16:9-13 says, Then washed I thee with water, yea, I thoroughly washed away thy blood from thee, and I anointed thee with oil. I clothed thee also with broidered work, and shod thee with badgers' skins, and I girded thee about with fine linen, and I covered thee with silk. I decked thee also with ornaments, and I put bracelets upon thy hands, and a chain on thy neck. And I put a jewel on thy forehead, and earrings in thine ears, and a beautiful crown upon thine head. And thus was thou decked with gold and silver, and thy raiment was of fine linen and silk and broidered work. Thou didst eat fine flour and honey and oil, and thou wast exceeding beautiful, and thou didst prosper into a kingdom. Where did we see the bracelets? When Rebecca was found as a bride for Yitzchak, what did Eliezer do? He put bracelets on her wrists. It's called tzamid, bracelet covering, and the root is tzamad, to link, to gird, to fasten, to join self, to serve as in marriage. Yahveh from the first planned to have this place as the capital of his kingdom here on earth for his chosen people Israel, through whom the Mashiach, the word of Yahveh, the man Israel, would come. He would willingly come and die to save Yahweh's fallen creation. Fallen creation. Well, Ezekiel 16:20-25 says, Moreover, thou hast taken thy sons and thy daughters, whom thou hast borne unto me, and these hast thou sacrificed unto them to be devoured. This then is Molech. It says, Is this thy wardens a small matter? Thou hast slain my children, and delivered them to cause them to pass through the fire for them. And in all thine abominations and thy war dons, thou hast not remembered the days of thy youth, when thou wast naked and bare, and was polluted in thy blood. And it came to pass after all thy wickedness. Woe, woe unto thee, says Yahweh Elohim, that thou hast also built unto thee an eminent place, and hast made thee an high place in every street. You know, that was a fornicating chamber with idols. Thou hast built thy high place at every head of the way, and hast made thy beauty to be abhorred, and hast opened thy feet to every one that passed by, and multiplied thy wardens. Verse 46-51 says, And thine older sister is Samaria, she and her daughters that dwell at thy left hand, and thy younger sister that dwelleth at thy right hand is Sodom and her daughters. Yet hast thou not walked after their ways, nor done after their abomination, but as if that were a very little thing, thou wast corrupted more than they in all their ways. As I live, says Yahweh Elohim, Sodom thy sister hath not done. she nor her daughters, as thou hast done, thou and thy daughters. Behold, this was the iniquity of thy sister Sodom, pride, fullness of bread, and abundance of idleness was in her and in her daughters. Neither did she strengthen the hand of the poor and needy, and they were haughty and committed abomination before me. Therefore I took them away as I saw good. Neither hath Samaria committed half of thy sons' sins, but thou hast multiplied thine abominations more than they, and hast justified thy sisters in all thine abominations which thou hast done. What is Yahveh saying? Yahveh is saying that the house of Judah was more corrupted than her sister Samaria, the house of Israel, the castaway 10 tribes, and Sodom. Jerusalem was chosen by Yahveh, and is a picture also of the whole nation of Israel. Ezekiel 2 says, Nevertheless, I will remember my covenant with thee in the days of thy youth, and I will establish unto thee an everlasting covenant. And so here we have the promise of the renewed everlasting blood covenant with Abraham's offspring in the latter days. Then shalt thou remember thy ways, and be as ashamed when thou shalt receive thy sisters, thine elder and thy younger, and I will give them unto thee for daughters, but not by thy covenant that they had with Yahveh. And I will establish my covenant with thee, and thou shalt know that I am Yahveh. He's speaking here to Judah, the house of Judah. And here in the last verses of Ezekiel, we see the restoration and his total forgiveness and love for his harlot nation, his betrothed. And so when we study the breastplate of judgment, then we stand amazed at the wisdom and love of Yahveh and his great plan of redemption, how he planned his coming to earth in Yeshua to buy back his nation from the slave market, for Yeshua to come and die for all their iniquities, to receive their judgment on himself, and for all the whosoever will receive great sacrifice, so that they may live eternally with him in the years to come. So we are speaking here about the greatest love story ever told. 2 Corinthians 5:18-19 says, And all things are of Elohim, who hath reconciled us to himself by Yeshua HaMashiach, and hath given to us the ministry of reconciliation, to wit that Elohim was in HaMashiach, reconciling the world unto himself, not imputing their trespasses unto them, and hath committed unto us the word of reconciliation. Reconciliation is kafar, atonement. In the Greek is katalage, a restoration to divine favour and atonement. Now let's go to Exodus 28:15-30. It says, And thou shalt make the breastplate of judgment with cunning work. After the work of the ephod thou shalt make it, of gold, of blue, and of purple, and of scarlet, and of fine twined linen thou shalt make it. 4 square it shall be, being doubled. A span shall be the length thereof, and a span shall be the breadth thereof. And thou shalt set it in settings of stones, even 4 rows of stones. And the first row shall be a sardius, a topaz, and a carbuncle. And this shall be the first row. And the second row shall be an emerald, a sapphire, and a diamond. And the third row, a ligure, an agate, and an amethyst. and the fourth row a beryl, and an onyx, and a jasper. They shall be set in gold in their enclosings, and the stones shall be with the names of the children of Israel, 12, according to their names, like the engravings of a signet. Every one with his name shall they be according to the 12 tribes. And thou shalt make upon the breastplate chains at the ends of wreathen work of pure gold. And thou shalt make upon the breastplate 2 rings of gold, and shalt put the 2 rings on the 2 ends of the breastplate. And thou shalt put the 2 wreathen chains of gold in the 2 rings which are on the ends of the breastplate. And the other 2 ends of the 2 wreathen chains thou shalt fasten in the 2 ouches, and put them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod before it. And thou shalt make 2 rings of gold, and thou shalt put them upon the 2 ends of the breastplate, in the border thereof, which is in the side of the ephod inward. And 2 other rings of gold thou shalt make, and put them on the 2 sides of the ephod underneath, toward the forefront thereof, over against the other coupling thereof, above the curious girdle of the ephod. And they shall bind the breastplate by the rings thereof unto the rings of the ephod with a lace of blue, that it may be above the curious girdle of the ephod, and that the breastplate be not loosed from the ephod. And Aaron shall bear the names of the children of Israel in the breastplate of judgment upon his heart, when he goeth in unto the holy place, for a memorial before Yahveh continually. The gold chains and gold rings represented the love of God, binding Abraham and his seed, or Israel, to his heart. And thou shalt put in the breastplate of judgment the Urim and the Thummim, and they shall be upon Aaron's heart when he goes in before Yahveh. And Aaron shall bear the judgment of the children of Israel upon his heart before Yahveh continually. And there shall be an hole in the top of it. In the midst thereof it shall have a binding of woven work around about the whole of it, as it were in the hole of an habergeon, that is not to be rent. What is he talking about here? He's talking about the neckline of the ephod, that it be not rent. Because remember, the priests and the people used to rent their garments when they were angry or disappointed. But the high priest was never supposed to rent his clothes. This is why it was made this way. And so we remember when the high priest Caiaphas, when he rent his garment, it would be the end of the priesthood of Israel. The Urim and the Thummim were 2 stones. Where they came from is not told, but they were just there. They were placed in a pocket underneath the breastplate. The Urim means to shine, lights, illumination. Thummim means perfection, an emblem of complete truth. It also says Thumim means integrity, without blemish, complete, perfect, undefiled, upright, whole. Israel could come and ask for counsel. They were a means of getting answers from Yahveh regarding any problems which concerned Israel. They were also used as lots for the division of the land. Urim also means lights, oracular brilliancy of the figures in the high priest's breastplate. is the word singular, a flame, a fire, a light. As if we can see, the Urim begins with an Aleph, and the Thumim begins with a Tav, the beginning and the ending of the Aleph Beit. Remember, Yeshua and Yahweh said that they are the Aleph and the Tav. So let's also look at the feast of Purim, means pur, called lots. Haman in the book of Esther used lots to decide the perfect day for the annihilation of the Jewish nation. Another word for pur is to crush, to break, to bring to naught. And Purim, another explanation, is the wine press, the crushing of grapes. The night of Yeshua's arrest, he was praying with his disciples in the Garden of Gethsemane, or Gethsemane, and a literal meaning is wine press of oils. How odd. It was here where he became so anguished in prayer that his sweat became like drops of blood falling to the ground. Luke 22 to 24. Yeshua said in Revelation 1:7-8, Behold, he comes with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so. Amen. I am Alpha, the Aleph, and the Omega, the Tav, the beginning and the ending, says Yahweh, which is, and which was, and which is to come, the Almighty. He is speaking here about his coming to war against the nations that will surround Jerusalem in the last days. When we see all the qualities mentioned here, we see Yeshua as the way, the truth, and the life, the light of the world, the beginning and the ending, the crushed, maimed, beaten one, as the complete, undefiled, without blemish, perfect sin offering, the Pesach. Luke 24:50-51 says, And he led them out as far as to Bethany, and he lifted up his hands, and he blessed them. And it came to pass, when he blessed them, he was parted from them and carried into heaven. And Daniel 7:13-14 says, I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. And there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. Daniel is speaking here a prophecy about the latter days, when the kingdom of Yahweh's Son shall stand for all eternity. See the lecture on the day of Yahweh. Now, let's go to Genesis 49:22-49. Joseph is a fruitful bough, even a fruitful bough by a well, whose branches run over the wall. In other words, his descendants, Ephraim, will become the wild olive. The archers have sorely grieved him, and shot at him, and hated him. But his bow abode in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty Elohim of Jacob. From thence is the shepherd, the stone of Israel. The night of Yeshua's arrest, just before his crucifixion, he and his disciples sang the great Hallel, Psalm 118:21-29. I will praise thee, for thou hast heard me and art become my salvation. The stone which the builders refused is become the headstone of the corner. This is Yahweh's doing. It is marvelous in our eyes. This is the day which Yahweh hath made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. And verse 25 says, Save now, I beseech thee, O Yahweh, O Yahweh, I beseech thee, send now prosperity. Blessed be he that comes in the name of Yahweh. We have blessed you out of the house of Yahweh. Let's go to verse 25 again. In Hebrew it says, Save now, I beseech thee, O Yahweh, O Yahweh, I beseech thee. In the Hebrew it says, Anna, Yahweh Hoshiana, Anna, save us, Anna, Yahweh Hatzlicha, Na. What does it mean? Please, Yahweh, please come and save us, please. Come mightily, please. Blessed be he who comes in the name of Yahweh. Baruch haba Hashem, Yahweh. Did you hear all the na? All the please save us. They crying, this will be their cry. For Yahweh to come and save them on the day of Yahweh. This is a messianic psalm of David, speaking about that terrible time when Israel today, the house of Judah, including Benjamin and all those of the northern tribes that added themselves to Judah, will call on Yeshua on the day of Yahweh to please come and save them, to bless him that comes in the name of Yahweh. The Son represents the Father. He also bears the name of his Father, Yeshua. Yahweh saves. Verse 27 says that Elohim is Yahweh, which hath showed us light. Bind this sacrifice with cords, even unto the horns of the altar. Thou art my Elohim, and I will praise thee. Thou art my Elohim, or Elohai, I will exalt thee. O give thanks unto Yahweh, for he is good, for his mercy endureth forever. 1 Peter 2 verse 8 says, To whom coming as unto living stone, disallowed indeed of men, but chosen of Elohim and precious. You also as lively stones are built up a spiritual house and holy priesthood, to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to Elohim by Yeshua HaMashiach. Wherefore also it is contained in the scripture. He's talking about Isaiah 28 verse 16. And then it says, Behold, I lay in Zion a chief cornerstone, elect, precious, and he that believeth on him shall not be confounded. Unto you therefore which believe he is precious, but unto them which be disobedient, the stone which the builders disallowed, the same is made the head of the corner, and a stone of stumbling, and a rock of offense, even to them which stumble at the word, being disobedient, whereunto also they were appointed. Stumbling stone in Greek is lithnos. 3035, you will get it in the Strong's, is a millstone. So when we look at the part of the temple still standing in Jerusalem, we see these great blocks of stone cut by hand. Metal tools could not be used because of defilement. This in itself is a miracle. When you understand the size of the original temple, altars were made of earth or stones. Joshua 4, 5, 8 and 19. This is speaking about the entering into the promised land at last. And Joshua said unto them, Pass over before the ark of Yahveh Elohecha into the midst of Jordan, and take ye up every man of you a stone upon his shoulder, according unto the number of the tribes of the children of Israel, that this may be a sign among you, that when your children ask your fathers in time to come, saying, What mean ye by these stones? Then you shall answer them, that the waters of Jordan were cut off before the ark of the covenant of Yahweh. When it passed over Jordan, the waters of Jordan were cut off, and these stones shall be for a memorial unto the children of Israel forever. And the children of Israel did so as Joshua commanded, and took up 12 stones out of the midst of Jordan, as Yahweh spake unto Joshua, according to the number of the tribes of the children of Israel, and carried them over with them unto the place where they lodged, and laid them down there. And the people came up out of the Jordan on the 19th day of the first month, and encamped in Gilgal, in the east border of Jericho. And those 12 stones which they took out of Jordan did Joshua pitch in Gilgal. Gilgal means wheel, a rolling thing. Gal means a heap of stones. Yahweh rolled away the shame of Israel. Rolled away their shame. They have now entered the promised land, after being wanderers in the wilderness for 40 years. And I believe that we must close now, today, and we'll continue next time with the last part, which is the most interesting part, not to miss. So I say shalom to you, Marie Westley signing off. Until next time, shalom. Thank you for joining me today on today's journey. I hope you will join me again next time. So shalom for today until I see you again.